I just bought a Ford GT for a fraction of the cost, but does it live up to the real thing? I am so excited to share this with you. First, we're going to get into my rating, my review, a full comparison, and then you'll be on your way to the next video. Let's get into it. I'm also going to switch back to my studio because it is so hot in here. All right, we made it back. I do my ratings on a number of metrics to help you figure out if this is the right set for you. Skill, 9 out of 10. I might be a bit biased because I'm not the most experienced Technic builder. I've collected a lot of Lego, but this is only my third Technic set. Beginners, honestly, if you want it, buy it, do a few other smaller Technics first, and then work your way up to this one. From an intermediate to advanced, you know yourself best. If you've done another Technic before, you'll probably be okay. I will say this is an extremely challenging but extremely rewarding set. I will say with this, it's a little weird because normally with Lego, if you have to force something into place, you're doing something wrong. With Technics, that's not always the case, and it'll throw you off a little. Aesthetics, 7 out of 10. If this was just done off of like, ooh, car looks nice, it'd be a 10 out of 10. But I look at this like grades, and definitely when it's a replication of a real thing, I have to factor in how much like the original car it looks. And I feel like this one's average C-skip degrees. Again, I really love how this looks, but when compared to this real thing, it's not 100% there. I'll get to that later in the comparison portion, by the way. I like this to be a little bit more bullet point style, so that way you can get a good overview and we can get into the nitty-gritty later. But I do want to say really quick, I do think compared to the color of the 2022 Ford GT, it nails it on the head, so that was good. If there is one thing I have a complaint about, and it is kind of standard for Technics, there's way too many damn stickers on this thing. Too many. Durability, 9 out of 10. I look at this like grades, and I feel like it still can be pulled apart, so it's not like 100%, but if I were to throw this at a wall, I'd worry about the wall before the set. Be warned during the build that it is so durable that if you place something wrong, it can be very difficult to get it back apart. So that is kind of the downside to it being so durable, is it's also durable during the building process. Value, 8 out of 10. I do this metric solely based off the price per brick. By the way, I'll accidentally call them bricks and pieces interchangeably. I'm sorry about that. There are two main factors that affect a set's price per brick. One is licensed IP. Now, obviously, Ford owns the rights to this, so I'd imagine it's some kind of licensed IP, even though it's a little different than how they usually look for us. The other one is custom pieces. Now, I do know some of these blue pieces are custom color pieces that had to be made, and then I kind of think that the headlights might be custom pieces, but I wasn't able to confirm or deny that. I'm not super familiar with Technics, so there could be some more in here that I missed. This set costs $119.99 and has 1,468 bricks, giving it an 8-cent price per brick for a licensed IP with a bunch of Technic pieces. I am very happy with that. Granted, I don't know how it usually looks for Technics, but based off of just normal Legos, very happy. Times 7 out of 10. I also look at this one like grade, so I feel like it's kind of average. I only do this metric based off of the average amount of bricks I was putting down per hour relative to my normal average. Now, because this is only my third Technic, I had to kind of adjust my normal average. So excluding Technics, I can usually place about 350 to 425 bricks per hour. So I kind of adjusted that down to be about 200 to 300-ish bricks per hour I would place on a Technic. This one has 1,468 bricks and took me 5 hours and 45 minutes, meaning I averaged 255 bricks per hour. I'm very happy with that. Again, Technics are tough, so I'm good. It's crazy though to think that if this was a normal set, it would have taken me way less than 2. Joy, 7 out of 10. I also look at this one like grades. I feel like this is kind of just the average amount of joy. I really love how Technics look when they're done, but they can be really grueling on your thumbs. Honestly, the thumb pain, the finger pain from this definitely affected the score a little bit. Normally I can do like up to 2,600 bricks and not have my fingers hurt after. I just built the Hogwarts Castle and Grounds like I think in one go, and my fingers were totally fine afterwards. So the fact that this one like really made them hurt says something. Overall, B tier. I feel like this is a great set, but it is a tad specific. You have to like Technics, and that can be a little polarizing. But I do think if you're into the Ford GT, if you're into cars in general or Technics, you'll really like this one. Let's talk more about it. This build is 5 bags, which is kind of wild because of how many pieces it is. It averages out to over 200 pieces a bag, and it's a Technic. Keep in mind with this full review, this is my third Technic, so I am not the best informed person. However, I am definitely more knowledgeable when it comes to Lego in general. I really love this set, so I wanted to be able to review it, but if I get anything wrong, please correct me in the comments down below. One of the things I've noticed with Technics I've done is that it's feel feel is entirely different from other LEGO themes. When I was looking into it, I found an old Reddit AMA with the design director of LEGO saying he was amazed at the LEGO Technic teams, which kind of confirms to me that there is a whole separate team for Technics, which I think is crazy. I always say how insane some of these sets are and how amazed I am that someone was able to design them. And usually when I'm saying that, I'm just referring to normal LEGO sets. With Technics, it genuinely blows my mind that someone can design them. Like, for sure, it takes a special mind to do some of the mocks we see for LEGO sets. Looking at you, modular geniuses. But an extra special mind must create these Technics. I complained about the amount of stickers, and I do want to circle back to that comment. I've noticed that Technics have a lot of stickers. My personal theory is that there's so many unique pieces that are expensive to manufacture that the price per brick would be insane if we got printed pieces. But personally for this set, I can't reconcile why there's so many stickers. Since the price per brick is great, I'm not sure why they didn't just give us printed pieces. Not to mention, they could have just skipped some of the stickers if I'm being honest. When I was trying to find answers, the Google AI told me that it's a cost and storage thing, but I don't trust that very much. So it could be. On one hand, a lot of the pieces on this are custom colors, so they would require a separate storage anyways, so why not print on them? On the other hand, I can certainly see that being the case, but there's also a lot of LEGO sets that have printed bricks, which makes me think that it's a Technic specific problem. Speaking of Technic specific problems, I am a little curious how your fingers hold up for sets like these. Sometimes on normal sets, I use my brick separator to push in pieces and prevent finger pain, but with Technics, that's not really an option. So if you build Technics frequently, how do you minimize that finger pain that always inevitably will come with building? While this Technic is bigger than the ones I've done previously, there's other Technic sets that are way bigger. The biggest available right now on the LEGO website is the McLaren P1, which is 3,893 bricks. That one is over 3 times more brick from this one, and Technics are quite hard. So the only solution I can see is to take it about 500 to 600 bricks at a time and do it in chunks. Speaking of which, I will be coming up on this in bag 4, but I made a mistake and have 2 pieces extra that should not be extra. I didn't count this into my final time score because it's my mistake, but I ended up taking it apart and back together trying to find it. So if you happen to see anything wrong on the set, please let me know. The weird thing with Technics is that if you make a mistake, you usually will find it by the end of the build, but I cannot. Usually if you place one thing wrong, the whole build is messed up, but for some weird reason, it is not here. I honestly feel a little bit stupid for not being able to find it and being a brick content creator, but I thought it was better to be fully transparent with you instead of just pretending like I did it right. One of the things that I think makes LEGO Technic more difficult than normal LEGO sets is it seems to work in 3D more than any other sets. With a normal LEGO set, it's pretty easy to find a focal point on the set and you pretty much are building up or out to the side. When you have to flip over something for a normal LEGO set, it's pretty easy to figure out how you're doing it, plus you're kind of on a grid. For Technics, this is not the case. Sometimes when it tells you you're going to turn and or flip over the set, it takes me a good 20 seconds to figure out which way we are turning the set and confirm that I have it right. Normal LEGO sets are comprised of different size cubes for anything structural, but Technics are not, and it can make it more difficult. I think that's why there's such a divide in LEGO fans for Technic and non-Technic fans, because if you're a fan of LEGO, it's so rare to be neutral on Technics. I'm more neutral, but neutral positive. I like them, but I'll only really build it if I really like the car. But there's a lot of LEGO fans who collect all the Technics. There is also a lot of LEGO fans who won't even browse the Technics because they don't like the building process. I do have to say, for me, I feel like this is a really delayed gratification style build. Usually I love the building process and I love the end product. Building Technics is one where I'm focusing so much on the process, it isn't nearly as enjoyable. But as my fingers hurt, and they 100% are hurting here, my fingers and mine are put at peace by the thought of how this will look at the end. Funny enough, I see people sell these Technics on Facebook Marketplace in my area, and they are notoriously so hard to build that they sell for the same price as they were new and in the box. And knowing that people will literally pay to have these sets built for them makes me feel even cooler for being able to do it. Sans my missing pieces. Hi, I'm back. I felt like I had a unique angle to do the video in the garage, but it is really hot, so if you appreciate me it's pretty much sitting in a sauna for this video, if you wouldn't mind tapping that like button, that'd be great. So my car people out there definitely looking at this know this is not the 2022 Ford GT that this set is modeled after, but there are some characteristics throughout the GT that definitely help identify it as a GT. So I wanted to show it really quickly because I have the ability to do so and I just thought it was cool. I want to say this car is somewhere between 2002 and 2006. I think I know the exact year, but I'm really embarrassed if I get it wrong to say it, so I felt like it was better to say range. Also, I'm not a car expert or a car person or whatever, but I am a person with two working eyes that can notice differences between things. So I thought it'd be interesting to point out. So obviously the color on this one is entirely different. It is flipped, although it is kind of the GT colors that you typically see, unless you get a Heritage Edition, which I could make a case for that being the best color GT, but it does have that classic blue and white, albeit the 2022 is flipped. I would say the front of these look really different, but the back has that kind of classic GT style, which is very in line with this one. Overall, when I put this car next to this one, which obviously it's a lot smaller, but you definitely can see that it's from the same line of cars, even though these are totally different years, and one's Lego and one's an actual car. And then now let's compare it to a real 2022 Ford GT. I wish I could say that actually. I don't have one, but I do have photos of it, and I have this one here, so we're gonna do the best with what we have now. Obviously, before we go into this, there's limitations with Lego and how well it can replicate it. So I'm not going to knock it for not being able to replicate it 100%, but it needs to be recognizable enough to me that you can tell what the car is. If you want something that's 100% scale, buy something that's 100% scale that you aren't building yourself. The back of this I do think looks really good. Right away, I looked at it and knew like this is a Ford GT. Now, I know I knew what I was building, but I would even know, looking at this from somebody else, that it was a Ford GT, not counting the sticker piece too. It just is such an iconic look, and it is kind of a signature throughout the Ford GTs where it's not 100% the same on any of the models, but you can kind of tell it's a Ford GT by how the back looks. So I think they do a really good job of replicating it, and it's like nearly perfect. The side profile on the actual car, funny enough, isn't really that distinct, so it isn't really that identifying here, so I feel like it's replicated okay into Lego. It's not like anything crazy either way. I feel like it's just kind of like it's a good replication because you can tell what it is, but it's like, you know, there's nothing really going on there much. Then when it comes to the front, I need my hands. Okay, so when I finished this, my husband had just come home from getting a haircut, and I was like, hey, honey, look at what I just built. Can you tell what it is? He had no idea. He just knew I was building a car, but he didn't know which car. And so I showed him the front, and he went through like 6 or 7 different cars, not even Fords, to be like, oh, is it a Ferrari? Is it a Lamborghini? I don't know if he actually said Lamborghini, but he said Ferrari. And then finally I showed him the side, and he kind of was like, no. And then I showed him the back with the sticker covered by my finger, and he was like, oh, I know exactly what that is. That's a Ford GT. When I was editing, I noticed that I did the front wrong, so I corrected it, but I still stand by that it does not look super accurate to a Ford GT in the front. He had said, and I also agree with this, that the front here does not look like a Ford GT. It's not replicated very well. I do think some of this, unfortunately, just is due to the shape of the real car and like how well it was going to be able to be replicated into Lego. Unfortunately, I don't think it was able to be done that well, but the back definitely looks great. The front for sure, though, caused me to deduct some points, as well as I was going to probably deduct a point for all the stickers, if I'm being honest. A set's aesthetics should not be reliant on my lack of ability to place stickers. Okay, let me put this down really quick. I did just hit 7,000 subscribers, and I want to say thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It seriously means the world to me, and I feel honestly so blessed that I have such a great community that we built here. So thank you so much for watching the video to this point. If you haven't tapped subscribe, if you wouldn't mind doing that, comment down below. Let me know, what's your favorite Technic? Do you plan on getting this Technic? I think it's supposed to retire next year, so let me know if you're planning on getting it. And yeah, with that said, I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye!